Holy cow! Welcome to Donnie's Hangout Adventures. I record this on Sunday. It's St. Patty's Day, so happy St. Patty's Day. So I got my green on, so does my wife, and what? WWE Hall of Fame. I have discussed this previously on other videos I've done on YouTube in the past. I have a hard time taking the WWE Hall of Fame seriously. They always hold, okay, fine, it could be an honor to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. And they always hold it in whatever city WrestleMania is going to be at. They've done this for quite a few years now. And I have a hard time taking the Hall of Fame seriously. Why do I have a hard time taking it seriously? Simple. There's no building. Do you realize the amount of revenue whoever owns WWE could make by having a said building? Yeah, they could make a lot of freaking money off of it, and a lot of people would come and go see it. Where would you place it? I don't know. Maybe New York. I don't know, Los Angeles. I don't know where you would place the WWE Hall of Fame. But it's been a money-missing opportunity. Look at all your major sports that have Hall of Fames. Major League Baseball has a Hall of Fame. NFL has a Hall of Fame. NASCAR took them a little while, but they've had a Hall of Fame for a few years. There's no Hall of Fame building with WWE, and it's a missed opportunity in and of itself. So I have a hard time taking the Hall of Fame seriously in WWE. Be that as it may, the Hall of Fame class this year is a little weak. It's a little weak this year, and I've noticed a weird trend with this Hall of Fame class. It lacks a big name. There's no great big names. I hate to say this, and unless you're a wrestling nut, you're not going to know a lot of these names. And guess what? I'm having a hard time trying to figure out a couple of these names because I don't know who they are. And that says a lot with me. If somebody asks me who this person is, I can usually, right off my head, I can tell you who it is. And this class, I'm having a hard time figuring out who some of these wrestlers are. Okay, so the good of this Hall of Fame class, okay, the good part is finally Paul Heyman is getting inducted. Okay, Paul Heyman should be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Is this the right year for it? No, it's not. But the WWE, they have a quota, and the closest they can come to is a manager. Having a manager in the Hall of Fame is Paul Heyman. Sure, there's a bunch of other names they could have induct. I still can't wrap my brain around why Miss Elizabeth is still not in the Hall of Fame. I can't wrap my brain around that one. And this would have been one of the perfect years to induct Miss Elizabeth into the Hall of Fame. And I think our cat's doing something. Right back. Before I get back into discussing this, our cat decided to get on top of the shower. On top of the shower.
It's like a wall on the back side of it.
It's like a wall on the back side.
She jumps, I think, from the toilet up on it.
She has to. It's quite a bit of ways up there, so we have to put her in timeout for.
We're trying to teach her right from wrong.
Trying to teach her right from wrong. Now back to this. Where was I? Oh, I was talking about Miss Elizabeth. This would be the perfect time to induct her into the Hall of Fame, but I think because of the bloodline story going, they're trying to put a big name out there. And Paul Heyman, sadly, is the biggest name in this class. We're going to go probably, I don't want to say downhill from here, but we pretty much are. Okay, in a tag team, they're inducting. You know what? I have to admit, I forgot this was even a tag team. I really did. This is where you get, sure, okay, all right, sure. They were a tag team from 1983 to 1987. They were two-time tag team champions in that organization, WWF. Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda. Okay. This confuses me. Mike Rotunda, otherwise known as IRS. I forgot he had another run in WWF besides his IRS gimmick. So I completely forgot this. And I thought after the passing of Bray Wyatt, now, you know, because he is related, his dad was Mike Rotunda and all that. So I thought that they were going to induct Bray Wyatt into the Hall of Fame. That's what everybody thought. But no, he's not on the Hall of Fame class. This would make more sense if Bray Wyatt was also going to be inducted. I can't pronounce that word right. Whatever. Anyway, so I thought that he was going to be inducted, but they're going to induct Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham on a tag team. I forgot Barry Windham even had a run in the early 80s with the WWF. I really did forget. This is like the second or third time that Barry Windham's going to be in the Hall of Fame, you know, with the Four Horsemen and all that. So I had simply forgot they were even a tag team. Tag team? This is a tag team that I forgot. Demolition is still not in the Hall of Fame. So maybe they should induct Demolition instead. Be a bigger name than the U.S. Express. I can't tell you nothing about this tag team. Like I've said, I am struggling with some of these names and some of these tag teams I'm even struggling with. Now we're going to... Okay. You don't hear about it in any other sport. And wrestling's not a sport. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. You don't hear this in baseball. You don't hear this in NASCAR. They tend to do it. They have a quota. WWE likes to put one manager. They like to have one female. And then you have the blacks. They have to induct at least one black. At least one black wrestler. At least. That's why you have a lot of names like Junkyard Dog and you know, Coco Beware. Some of these names you wouldn't necessarily induct into the Hall of Fame, but they got to have an African American or black, whatever. They do this every freaking year, and eventually, here's what's going to happen. They're going to run out of names. They're going to run out of names because there isn't a lot of black wrestlers in the history. I have a hard time naming everyone because there isn't that many. There really isn't. And this name, I'm struggling with. I'm really, really struggling with it. I can't tell you much about this person because I don't know. That's bad. I'm a big history buff on wrestling, and I can't tell you who the hell Thunderbolt Patterson is. I can't tell you. So I had to literally Wikipedia who the hell Thunderbolt Patterson is. He's in his 80s. He's still alive. Who is he? Here's what I came up with. This is all I came up with. is in the 70s when they had territory days, which have been around for quite a few years. He wrestled like in Georgia and Florida and the Carolinas. That's it. That's it. That's all he did. He won championships in NWA in Florida and Georgia. He never had a WWF run. He had an NWA run. So if your bubble is only WWF, you're not going to know who Thunderbolt Patterson is. Guess what? I watched all the organizations back in the day. NWA, WCCW, WCW, all of it, ECW. I can't tell you who the hell Thunderbolt Patterson is. This is the problem with this class. It lacks any big names. If you're going to induct an African American, wouldn't this been the perfect year to induct The Rock? I know, it's hard to believe The Rock still is not in the Hall of Fame. Why is he not in the Hall of Fame? I don't know. So instead of inducting Thunderbolt Patterson, whoever that is, induct somebody that people know who it is. The Rock. Wouldn't that make more sense? Then again, when has WWE done anything that's made any sense? Exactly. And I think that's it. What? Oh. Yeah, I forgot. The woman they got to induct. The woman wrestler. Oh boy. So, 93, 94, 95, that was down times in the wrestling business. There was a lot of silly gimmicks. And that really went over to the women's division. The women's division then, compared to now, was not very good. When they had a women's champion, there'd be the women's champion and there'd be 3 other women in the entire organization. That's what happened with WWF, is nobody cared about women wrestling. And women weren't really going to WWF at this point because you had like a Alundra Blaze. That was it. That was pretty much it. And they actually, for a few years, they shut down the women's championship because there was no women wrestling. It was pretty much non-existing. It started in the late 80s, but it boiled over into the 90s. And there just really wasn't women wrestlers. There was more so overseas than there was in the United States. And nobody just seemed to care about it back then. They care more about it now, but then back then, they didn't really care about it. And another name I'm struggling with. Her name, not many people will know this, I barely do. Her name is Bull Nakano. Not many people are going to know it. I barely do. The only reason I know is because they'd have random Raws or random pay-per-views where she would be on a pay-per-view having a match with one of the 4 random women wrestlers they had back in 94 and 95. She was more known in Japan than she was here in the States. Not many people are going to know Bull Nakano. They're really, really not. This is just one of these random, obscure names that nobody's going to know. Now, it's becoming slim pickings on who to induct for the women wrestlers into the Hall of Fame. No name really jumps out at me at this point of who they can induct. But I'm sure they have other big names. I mean, why not Mickie James? There's one. I mean, come on. Bull Nakano. This Hall of Fame class is a little weak. I forgot to mention one other good one that is being inducted. I'm not going to say a whole lot about it. I think the only reason he's being inducted because they pretty much have inducted everybody else from the WrestleMania 1 main event. You know, it was Rowdy Piper. Oh shoot, who was his partner? It was Rowdy Piper and Cowboy Bob Orton. You know, with shoot, I forgot the names. Sorry about this. My brain's still fried here. But everybody in WrestleMania 1's main event, you know, you had Hulk Hogan, and you had, you know, Mr. T, and you had all these big names that was in the main event of WrestleMania 1. They're all in the Hall of Fame. Well, they had, you know, Muhammad Ali at ringside for this. So, of course, they're going to, I guess, finally induct him when could have did it when he was alive, but be that as it may. So they're inducting, you know, Muhammad Ali into the Hall of Fame, and it's a celebrity. So they always have to induct at least one celebrity into the Hall of Fame wing, as they call it, when there is no building. But be that as it may, it is what it is. So, but the Hall of Fame class is a little weak. It's really, really weak when you think about it. There's really no big names. I thought they were going to induct Bray Wyatt, but that hasn't came to fruition. I don't know what's going on with this Hall of Fame class. It just seems on the weaker side. It seems like it's on the weaker side of Hall of Fame class. I've seen strong classes. I've seen mediocre classes. This is one of the worst classes I have ever seen that doesn't really have any. Besides Paul Heyman and Muhammad Ali, there really is no name that jumps out at you. There really isn't. You have Bull Nakano, you have the U.S. Express, and Thunderbolt Patterson. I'm still trying to figure out who the hell Thunderbolt Patterson is.
Me and Mom are saying that's all for now.
That's all for now.